All right, good evening, everyone. It's 6:01 according to the clock on the wall. And I'm going to call the meeting of the Commission on Disability, the Townsend Commission on Disability meeting to order and do a roll call attendance. Start with Dawn.
Don Priest here.
Kelly Burke here. Natalie
Oh, you're
Gall
not even,
as a
you're not
guest.
appointed yet.
I'm a guest.
It's okay.
I'm a guest.
And Yasmin, can you give us your roll call attendance?
Oh, Jasmine Santiago present.
Thank you. Okay. So the meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube by TCAM later on. I did add chairman's additions and deletions for item 3.2, which will be right after I sent the original agenda in. When I got home, I checked my email and I had the notice of the ADA improvement grant. So I had to send in a revision right away. So that's the addition, and we will get to that at 3.2. So we have review and approve meeting minutes for our last meeting on April 2nd. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Anything you want to add or delete?
Well, the meeting was March 5th.
I'm sorry. I put it up. There's a typo I put in the agenda.
Which
It's
I didn't
March
catch.
5th. What's that?
Which I didn't catch, sorry. Either. But
Okay,
yeah.
I mean, that's tonight's agenda. I mean, the meeting minutes have the right date on it.
Yes,
I
they
put
do.
April 2nd on the agenda incorrectly. So I don't know if we can legally approve them then. It's a correction, so we're probably fine. So I did go through them and made some corrections before I sent them to everybody else. But there is one more. Yasmir you put Yasmin on
Oh,
somewhere.
okay,
I think
I'll
it's
find that.
the second page or it was on a vote. I think you put Yasmin.
Okay.
And so I didn't look through the rest of the document. I just caught it
Okay.
after I
I'll
sent it
find
to
that.
everybody. So
I'll make the correction. The other thing I have to do is I want to do all the accessibility things that I learned in the first training that I did with that state thing.
Okay.
So I wouldn't change any of the content, but I do want to make it accessible according to that training.
Okay.
It's a good starting point. I know it'll all go away when it gets scanned for now, but I have that training coming up too.
It's good practice once we do learn how to do that kind of stuff.
It is. And I'll
set the example for everybody.
yeah, and it's not all stuff you can see, but it's stuff that I can share at some point
Right.
of how to do.
Okay, so should I accept the motion to accept the minutes with the changes that if somebody wants to make that motion?
I'll make that motion. That we're going to accept the minutes with the corrections that we have noted.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Don Priest, yes.
Kelly Burke, yes.
Jasmine, yes.
All right, thank you. Passes. Okay, old business.
Do you have to vote?
What's that?
Do you have to vote? You didn't vote.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Okay.
I'm discombobulated being here physically. I'm used to being on Zoom only. All right, so next on the agenda is old business. 2.1, the ADA coordinator communication and meeting. I met with the ADA coordinator today, who is Bob Garthside, our building inspector, and that was a really productive meeting. So we didn't have a long time to talk, but he pulled out the transition plan, and he had gone through it a little bit, and so we talked about some of the things that he's really on board with. He's really focused and driven by the same things that we are, so he really wants to be a partner. And he asked that I send him the correspondence that I've given you over the last two meetings, the agendas, and he'll want to see the minutes. So, and he couldn't come tonight, but he hopes to be able to participate in our meetings when he can. So I was really excited. I was hoping that would be the case. And we talked about some of the things we had talked about last time. I told him we needed to get the notices up the notice of non-discrimination, and we needed his grievance procedure. So I gave him the draft that I had prepared, and I sent him links to the grievance procedures and the stuff that I bombarded him with some of the things that I sent to you. So he's going to look that over and get that in. And some of that are mandatory for when we go to do the grant. So that's a real need. I mean, we had set up the meeting before I found out about the grant. It's like, oh, this is perfect. So that we'll be working on that. And so he's a partner with us.
That's great.
So that was good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, 2.2, I had talked to you about getting on the list for mandatory referrals from other boards.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to Kieran, our TA, and I also talked to Beth Faxon, who does planning, and Colby, who does conservation. We don't get a lot from conservation, but planning is the big one that has all the stuff. So,
of course.
So they're in fact, I'm really excited because when I went and talked to people, they had things for me. They are thrilled that we're in existence, and they were already asking me questions and asking things that can we do this and this, and I was like, wow, sometimes a new commission like this who is regulatory so much, we're not necessarily as regulatory as the law is regulatory, but I shouldn't even say it, but I expected a little bit more pushback from some parts of the community, and it's the opposite. People are thrilled and they really want to do this and they really see the need. So I think we're smooth sailing, hopefully, in a lot of areas. So, but they were both Beth and Colby were enthusiastic about the things that they would like to see too. So, which I'll include some of that on future. I mean, nothing crisis, but the things that I'm aware of that are out there in the community. And okay, yeah, I'll send you stuff and we'll get things going. So,
oh, that's great.
It is.
Okay, I put on, let's see, because some of these I put on because we had talked about them last time. Town meeting accessibility, I know we had talked a little bit about that. I think Kelly, you were gonna talk to us a little bit about cart services and things that you could share with us.
Right, and I spoke with my organization is Massachusetts Councils on Aging. We're the nonprofit membership organization for the 350 councils on aging across the state. So we're obviously different from a town. My background is I have 21 years of being a council on aging director in a couple different towns. And
including Townsend?
I was the program coordinator here in Townsend. And then I was the director in Sterling and Northborough. And so I had asked Paula Hersey, who was our communications and marketing director at MCUA. She is a former cable access provider in Barnstable. So she knows about municipal rules. So I'm giving you this information, speaking on part of a nonprofit. So I am not sure. I mean, we'd have to check this, of course, with cable access here in town. But at our conference, we looked into CART because we knew we wanted to be accessible, and CART is very expensive.
Can you tell us what CART stands for?
Yeah. I can't tell you what it stands for, except that I know what it does, and it provides closed captioning for meetings so that people who have any kind of hearing loss or hearing disorders at all can use the screen. And actually, it works well for people that just may not hear as well. As we get older, it happens. So that screen is very valuable in a meeting. And so Paula said that if the Zoom, if like at our conference, we were acting as the host for a Zoom meeting, and the audio was fed into the soundboard, And then the Zoom host has control of the PowerPoint and the monitor, of course. And basically, if the closed captioning is turned on, which I think is another important thing as an aside to this, that you know, in all of our meetings that we have through MCOA, we have the closed captioning accessible for people to use. So any trainings that we have, we tell people that that's available. So I think that's another thing that be something that we could share with people in town as well. Anyway,
I just turned it on here.
Oh, great. So so it's an audio loop system really that enables the captioning to be up on the screen so that people can use it. So my recommendation would be to speak to Cable Access here in town and see what their thoughts are on that.
Right, and so when you're having a conference or meeting, because you're also broadcasting on Zoom to people who aren't physically present? No, this is just internal.
So it was our annual conference, which we held this year down the Cape at a hotel. And people, you know, we had about 600 people in attendance. And so we used this for that meeting, but it was not broadcast outside of the hotel.
So just internally, you just using Zoom to have it operate a screen
exactly
like this.
Yes,
as though we weren't even in the public here,
right.
And so that the people, those 600 people in a huge conference room,
auditorium,
could see
yes
what was being said on the screen.
Like
exactly.
a screen share for all of the presentations and stuff, probably.
Yeah, that I know we don't have that now. That if we're in both the high school for town meeting or in Memorial Hall, that they're not on Zoom. They're not using Zoom. I don't even think we have the capability in Memorial Hall right now.
Yeah.
To even if we wanted to, that isn't. I don't believe that Memorial Hall is not a really good facility right now for up-to-date modern things. I think so. This is something that we need to work on if we're going to get to that point. Right. But that's as simple as some of the cart services are, right?
Yeah, you know, cart is more expensive.
And the full, yes.
Yes, if you're going to ask them to come and provide this service where they really just type everything that they're hearing and it shows up on the screen. So
right,
this would just be utilizing Zoom without cart services.
Right. I know. I learned. I mean, the term cart has kind of been, since I got on this, is kind of the new word for me. Well, it's an acronym, but
right, it's the acronym that I'm sorry that I'm not. I can try to.
There's a lot of services that, even in an office, we're a little off topic from town meeting, but the office, if someone's in an office or calling in, that if people need even ASL, they can, like, if we were at town meeting with full cart services, we can schedule ASL, but they don't necessarily have to be in the room. It's probably a good idea if you have an in-person meeting going on to have a real person, but you can also have somebody somewhere else zoomed in and on the screen providing ASL services to the attendees.
And I did just look it up. It's communication access real-time translation.
Right.
Great card. So
that's pretty basic service that we really need to get used to accessing.
Sorry.
The more services you get from that, it gets more and more expensive.
I'm sure.
But I was looking at, and you could call into the state for things involving the hearing. The state offers. When you need some services, you just call the state.
Exactly.
And you have to call in advance.
Yeah. And I have a contact there too, if we end up needing him, you know, to weigh in on anything, or if you need his opinion on something, I know somebody there. So.
And when we get to the grant, I'll be talking a little bit more about this.
what I like about starting to build Zoom for this type of thing is that I think everybody, even if they can't be at town meeting, should be able to participate, obviously. Zoom allows that without creating a hybrid meeting. So legally, it doesn't become a hybrid meeting. It can't just be somebody doesn't want to go, so they can go onto the Zoom and see it. They'd have to arrange in advance for access to that, but it allows them to participate.
Right.
And even for someone to, share what they would want to say or something. And so using Zoom for this, knowing that we could also use Zoom for that, and maybe we should talk to TCAM about it and see.
And the moderator.
And the moderator.
But
about the closed caption to start.
But looking into it, if we were to have remote access for town meeting for disability, you have to register in advance.
Mm-hmm.
It is a voting event as well.
Right.
So it's not just like anybody can go to any public meeting, but we'd have to know, or the moderator would have to know, somebody would have to know that, gee, I broke my leg or my arm, I can't drive, I want to participate in town meeting, which would be fine. Or people who just can't get to town, because I'm sure there's people that don't think that they are allowed to because they can't. But you would just have to just register in advance as a registered voter and say, I need to come in remotely. And then we're set up as a town to acknowledge the presence. And then when there's a vote, we'll make sure that everybody can hear, which we do need to work on that, even in the high school. That, but that people who are online, we can recognize, make sure they're recognized, and make sure that when there's a vote, that their vote is counted. So, there's a lot this is not, and for anybody watching, that this is not something that we are even anticipating for this coming town meeting. Yeah, it's just not, we don't have none, whether it's TCAM, us, or anyone, we do not have the technology prepared for that. And I don't think I haven't spoken to the town moderator about that. I've sent him some of the materials, but a little bit, he hasn't responded back. But I think, he's in the Moderators Association, so he should know that other towns are doing it, but he hasn't. Okay, Lori, you have your hands up?
I have, and I don't know if you heard me before or not, but I was not ignoring you. I couldn't find my speaker. Either that or you saw you heard the banging in the background. So I apologize.
I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. No, I wanted to chime in on your request for TCAM because the select board is working on the next access agreement with TCAM. And we're looking for ideas of what people's needs are. In reference to, I understand accessibility on websites because we as realtors were actually mandated to have it on their websites. And there was a cost to begin with. And if there's a yearly cost now, I'm oblivious to it. But it's there, on my website. And we're accountable for having that. Now the town, I've had several conversations with Dave in reference to access the town meeting and Zoom, and anybody could join kind of thing. Now I understand he was telling me that we basically can't do it because we can't keep anybody out. And because of some situations that have happened in the past that are not very children friendly, or people who don't like those kind of things, we really don't think that's very professional. So we're not going to expose people to that. But the webinar, he said, is the only other way to do it, which is where you have the registration system. That is expensive and will take hiring somebody to man it. So I just want you to know that it's not totally off the table. It is being talked about. We're going to see how much we have in funding. And if any of the funding that he got for capital planning can be used for something like that. So I just wanted you to know we're thinking about it and we have discussed it.
I know that the webinar is just as easy to operate. It's not man or woman, but that, as
Do you
it
use
is.
the webinar for registrations?
What's that?
Do you use the webinar for registrations?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not in a position right now where I'm
Okay.
not running any Zoom meetings right now in my other life. But,
Okay.
it's easy to do.
I thought it was easy
It is easy. You don't need to
because
hire-
because I participate with MJCT and MPO and MRPC. They're all that webinar registration type of thing ahead of time.
Yes, the school committee does that. The school committee is on webinar. That's why you have to register. You can still get in, but nobody sees you. The participants, and I do a lot of trainings online too in other organizations, and you can't see the other participants. You're just getting your webinar, just the people who are part of the meeting. Like if we did ours through webinar, you'd have to be you'd have to be invited in order for you to be seen on the screen. But because we're just using Zoom, just open Zoom for all our meetings now. But if we switch to a webinar content, it would be more accessible for everybody, not just the disabled. But in order to meet the ADA requirements, we really should do it in order so that the disabled can come in and see meetings live. Because right now, like this meeting, the only people that can see this meeting are us. And that's it.
And the handful that have cable.
But we're not live on Channel 9 either.
Oh.
Because they haven't gone live since the Zoom bombers. So no one, and then even when we do go later, it's only, the majority, more than half, I think more than 2/3 of the town are not on cable. Almost all of us, I'm not on cable anymore. And most people have gone off and are just doing streaming. So we never see what's on Channel 9, and it's, we only see what gets on YouTube. So, and you can live stream onto YouTube as well, which all requires a Zoom. It's still Zoom, but using the webinar, I've done, I've been able, it doesn't matter whether you're regular open Zoom or webinar Zoom. But yeah, the webinar skill or the webinar process, you do have to pay more for it, but it gives you the services and the security that you just don't have. Anybody can still watch, you just can't participate. So you don't have to register in order to watch the meeting. You just have to register if you're going to participate. Actually, MRPC, you have to register just to watch, which is an extra level of security, but just to watch on a webinar, because the school committee, you do not have to register in advance to watch a school committee meeting live, because I do it. But in order to, if I wanted to do public comment in a school committee meeting, I would have to register in advance. They can see you, the host can see you, because I know not Dawn, I'm looking at Dawn and I'm thinking, Kim has got the finance subcommittee of the school committee, and she has said something, she's spoken to me in a school committee meeting because she saw me there, and I would text to her on my phone, so there was she didn't have to call me into the webinar or anything, but she could see that I was there. So you can see, if you're a host, you can see everybody that's there, but the people participating can't Zoom bomb because there's no source. But I don't know what it costs. But that's something we really should budget for. And I think a lot of towns want to have open access as much as possible. But the webinar provides the security. People can still watch a meeting, but as long as you want to, if we're going to do public comment, you have to, people have to understand that they have to participate in that manner, and then, or go to the meeting in person, depending on how the setup is. But to do town meeting through this is, even if that's the only way we do it, I think that the cost, it's a matter of just people learning how to use it, but it's not it's not overtaxing. You don't need a new, go to school to learn how to do this. In fact, Zoom themselves, I love going to webinars. I spend way too much time on webinars, but but Zoom has their own webinars to teach you how to use these things. And any host of any meeting can control what's going on. I can control this meeting right here on the town laptop. I got two laptops in front of me. The town laptop, I can control what's going on in the Zoom right from here. I don't need TCAM to do it. I just needed them to make sure I had shared screen or whatever, but they had to turn everything on because we have, as a town, we have it set up that TCAM is doing it, but there's a lot of things that we don't have to depend on TCAM at all. I participated in Zoom meetings from my house, and I've actually been a host or co-host of Zoom during COVID. I mean, we all learned Zoom on the fly, but I was a co-host to many meetings, and once you learn how to do it, oh, okay, that's easy. You learn the
intimidating
and
first.
We used to, some of the meetings I attended would have you be on Zoom bomber alert. You would be a guard, and you would kick people out quickly. If you have the open access like we do, yeah, whoever is operating TCAM needs to be aware and not just doing other things like we can at home. But somebody needs to be watching an open access Zoom meeting. But if you have the webinar, then I don't know what it costs. I wouldn't think it's cost prohibitive considering what you get for it.
I don't know as much about Zoom, so this might be a ridiculous question, but if somebody is going to register for access through Zoom because they're unable to attend in person, we would only give them the link and password. We'd let them in from the waiting room, but nobody else, right?
It wouldn't be the same as an open access Zoom. You would, yeah, anybody who registered would get a link.
And be in a waiting room.
And they'd go to the waiting room, and then we'd have to let in only the people who registered.
I think they would get, I don't know that you have to actually let them, you're letting in everybody because I've attended webinars where hundreds of people are there, and I know nobody's sitting there 1, 2, 3. Although they could be.
So
Yes, Cindy, if I may, MRPC in all of their meetings, MPO, MJTC, whatever, they're by registration only. They know who you are, they know what town it is, and they know what your email and phone number is.
Right.
So there is somebody that lets you in. They don't let anybody in who clicks. You have to have been registered so they know exactly who is on those calls.
Yeah.
And that's using the webinar feature, Lori?
Yeah. There's two.
Well, basically, they're using a webinar to do their meetings. Yes, it's GoToMeeting is what they have.
Oh, you're doing GoToMeeting. They're not using Zoom. That's what's different.
Okay.
That's what's different because with MRPC,
because
I always get let in, yeah. If we only let in the people who register, I just wonder if it's an in-between step to get through this budget year and plan ahead for next year to get the webinar one. If there is that security, if we're only letting in, like we had one person register for this, that's the person we let in, and then everybody else just doesn't get in from the waiting room.
Right. Well, with the Zoom, they use GoToMeeting, which is not Zoom. It's a different company, and it's very similar. When you're using it, it looks the same, but it has there's a couple of different things that are different. But with the Zoom webinar, like if the school committee is a good example.
I think it's great. I just don't know that it's realistic for us to put something else into the budget now.
Oh, no.
But I think it's something that maybe there's an in-between step so we have some of that access to offer. Just because remember the meeting, one of the board meetings where people were left in the waiting room and there was like a big to-do that they didn't get in to see the meeting. So I know we use that feature. I know I get let in when I join.
That's just, yeah.
Yeah, so I just wonder if that could be an in-between until we can find some money to do this with the webinar, which I think would be good across boards.
Yeah, I think what Lori was also suggesting at the beginning of when she was speaking is that the select board are working with TCAM on new contract.
Mhm.
And I think, and I think we can provide some input, or I could talk to them, or Karen or Lori later on too, about how to word what we're looking for. And that as far as contractual, which is like a 3-year contract or something, or maybe even longer, but that we need to add these features, but not necessarily describe them to a T, because technology changes every day. So, but to say that we need to be accessible in accordance with the ADA, but even to a step further, what do we see our goals are as a town within that, but we can, not, oh, we just want to do the minimum for ADA. No, we really want to be accessible to the people of Townsend, but we need to, as a town or as the town leadership, sort out, how we can get there even by baby steps.
Exactly.
And I mean, and that's what we're here for, is the baby steps. And I like using the school committee as an example.
Well, and
they do
we're
it really
having
well.
it at the school. Maybe we could use theirs.
What's that?
If we're having town meeting at the school, I wonder if we could use theirs.
Well, it's not a technology thing.
So it's not the webinar itself thing that costs the money. We're talking about it's money for TCAM.
No, both.
Okay.
Like Zoom, like we're on Zoom invisibly.
Right.
This is not free. The town is paying for this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different levels. Like you and I at home, we can decide to have a Zoom meeting amongst our friends or for whatever we're doing, but there's a limit of like 45 minutes.
Exactly.
Right, that's free. That's free Zoom. But like the select board has like 6-hour marathon meetings.
Yeah.
Those are not free. But in order to be able to have a Zoom meeting with starting to add little frills, they have different levels of account. And in order to do the webinar, it's another level of account. So it will cost us more. And the school pays for that, but for the school committee,
it wouldn't be open to.
It wouldn't be ours. It wouldn't be the town of Townsend.
No, we would need to get our own. I just wonder, again, in the
It's just
baby
changing
step
our-
thought process, if we're hosting town meeting at the school and the school has that level, I wonder if we could work something out in the
But you'd
interim.
be on the North Middlesex Regional School Districts,
Yeah,
not
that's
the town of
true.
Townsend. So,
Yeah,
but this is something we
should look into it.
We could take baby steps, but I think,
Mhm.
Lori's point, and I will get back with Lori too, on what we can, how we can stage that. And even for all of us, if we can learn about this, like, and I mean, to learn the difference for, Lori, us, and anyone else that go to Zoom, I think it's zoom.com, and just go to and look for their trainings, or look for, right when you go to the main page, which we very rarely do, right? We only just log into meetings. But if we go to actual Zoom, when you go to the main page, you get bombarded with all these different choices, and some of the choices involve learning about, the different levels, and, what's a webinar, how do you use that, and brief 30-minute trainings that they go over, self-paced, on how the webinar system works. And then the pricing, they're want you to buy their services, so they let you know what the pricing is, and even, I'm sure that there's a different government level too. So, but we can all, on our own too, look at that and see what that is. And I don't think that hiring somebody specific to, well, this is necessary. We don't need to make this bigger than it has to be. And I understand Dave's concern about Zoom bombers. That was pretty horrible. I was watching on some of them when it happened. And I think the last one, the one that turned off the whole thing, I think I was watching it on Channel 9 at that point, but it was pretty awful. But I understand that, and there are security features that we can put on to defend against that. And the technology, the system that we're using now is really, it's low bandwidth, and we can really up it to make it more accessible to more people, as well as enhance those security features. But yes, it will cost, our Zoom account will need to be upgraded. So, but it's not, I don't think it's gazillions of dollars out of touch with, I know the town is kind of broke right now, but some things enhance other things. So even though you spend money over here, you're saving money over there.
Mhm.
And communication, I don't want to get too far off topic, but the more you can communicate to the public, the more accessible it is for everyone, and information gets seen by more people easier. And you don't have to figure out how come people aren't getting the word. And the more accessible you make it, the more people understand what's going on and not coming to town meeting saying,
Cindy, could I please just make a comment about the cost?
yes,
Okay. All the meetings that request to be recorded, zoomed, if you will,
Yep.
get zoomed. It doesn't matter if they're an hour, it doesn't matter if they're 10 hours. They do not get charged, that committee or that board or the town does not get charged any more money. All the
Right.
funding for this service comes from the Comcast receipts that we get. And so far, if you remember way back when there was an issue with before it became TCAM, we still had the access of the recording of the meetings. And I don't know what happened. I don't remember what happened. But then TCAM came about with a base funding. Like, remember the trash last summer that came from stabilization, not to be returned? That was
Yes.
the beginning of TCAM. TCAM is solvent. TCAM is providing a great service for the town, but there is no additional monies that come from our budget, is what I wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Right. But we still should, as a town, we should budget for the next level. Even if it's not, if the money isn't available through the Comcast, because that money goes to different things, but as a town, in order to be fully accessible and meeting all the accessibility requirements, that at some point, we do need to have continue to have that conversation about increasing, which the Zoom account, that does cost money. Somewhere, somebody's paying the Zoom, but it's not, if each meeting costs money. It's an overall cost based on what services you're getting, but each particular Zoom meeting we aren't charged a fee for each particular meeting. We have a Zoom account that works at this level of function. And then if we became a city, we might have, because of use, there might be an increase. I haven't looked at their pricing in a while, but if you up the service to webinar, just the overall cost for having the Zoom account is where you see the difference. But I don't know what the difference is, but it is more than what we're paying now. But whoever's paying it, they are being paid.
So I guess I would.
This is a request coming from the select board to them. They have given us some of their reasons why it can't be done, but it is a request being made. So
Thank you.
that comes, okay.
And from us, yes, include our name on it.
I will.
Thank you.
So I think it was on the Mass Municipal Association, one of their digital accessibility trainings talks about how town meeting and Zoom can work and how it doesn't turn it into a hybrid meeting for that purpose. And so it might be, maybe in addition to having the conversation with TCAM, if we can ask, like the select board to move forward with that conversation, also and look back and see what town was running that and talking about it, and maybe reach out and see how they've made it work.
Right. So you've attended some of the state track classes that we can't.
I did. So I did a live, which I feel like this is, the 2.3 falls into, right? So to talk about the training.
Okay.
I have access to.
Oh, I skipped over that somehow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't want to jump around too much, but I have access to the live trainings and office hours.
Right.
For all of the digital accessibility stuff, and their trainings are very specific. So I've completed one of those so far, which touched on many things a little bit. And I have like 6 more I've registered for so far that are very specific. There's a PowerPoint one. There's a Word converting to PDF. There's a regaining accessibility to a PDF once it's, been scanned. The Acrobat Pro is definitely something we'll need for that. I don't know if our town has that,
We
but
do,
that could
we
be
have, I believe Sabrina has an account and she shares it.
okay.
We don't have multiple accounts. We have one account and.
But as
it
long
gets
as it's,
shared,
if it's
yeah.
getting scanned, it can be made accessible again before it's posted. So they touched on, like I said, a lot of things a little bit, and now I'm gonna complete all of the live trainings that they have. Now, a lot of recordings are on that site that are available without that. But we do have access to the office hours also through that if we have really specific questions, which it could be very helpful. But I think
Unfortunately, you have to have you can do it because you have a government email.
yes,
You
so
have to have a government email.
I actually reached out and had our extension added to their list so that I could access it. So you actually have to, like, they're not going to add at gmail.com, right? But they added,
on it all, but yeah.
where I am is a municipal, it's a municipality. So they added it right to it. And I mean, my school district one didn't work either. So I reached out to them and said, hey, you'll want to be added to this, add your extension. But it opens up, I can ask questions through the training, but there is a lot of information there that's public access, and I would really recommend going there and looking through it. And it's Access. It's really easy to remember. Access is who provides the training.
Right.
So,
all right, Kelly?
I think it's one point that Don made. I wanted to just add on to that you were talking about a town that may be doing this, and I'm wondering if that could be part of us contacting other towns and just seeing what they did, because I feel like I was in the network with other council on aging directors and we shared information, and they still do. So that would be a good way for us to find out. And then when you talked earlier about the town meeting access, if it ever and I know that it's beyond our baby steps right now, but if we ever get to the point where people register and they can vote from at home, that would have to be the registration we talked about, because of course somebody would have to monitor that.
Right. I think the town clerk would have to be involved with ensuring that people who are registering for that are registered to vote.
Exactly. Yeah.
As well. And that the registration lasts up until town meeting, all that, just the way, even to attend town meeting, I think before town meeting, I think they post your deadline if you're not registered to vote vote and all that.
Right.
So we'd have,
would have to all fall under
it would
that.
be an effort, a town meeting to go fully accessible for town meeting. There'll have to be a lot of people committed to making it happen.
Absolutely.
And I think we do have people who are, like the people I'm running into in town hall, people are really enthusiastic about making everything more accessible. So I'm really excited that, okay, we can, despite different roadblocks that are out there, so we can get around these. We can, because there are ways. We need to do it. We're required to do it somehow at some time. We can't put it off forever. So, because the technology is there, we just have to negotiate it and get to it wherever that needs to be.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, definitely a baby step.
So, I'll keep town meeting accessibility on our agenda as old business for the foreseeable future, maybe forever, or until it's no longer an issue. So maybe at least a year. Because we probably won't be able to do anything like this until this time next year, as we're approaching the next year's town meeting. But I think we should, in the next year, we should be able to do better with regular meetings that people have. So I think we can.
Should we talk? I guess, I don't know, like, how do we get an update from TCAM? Would we get that through this? I don't know, Laurie, if we would get an update on what TCAM's thinking through you, or if we should speak with them about what we're looking for too.
Well, if you guys want me to, I volunteer all that because I'm retired, I mean, I'm one of those retirees that I don't know how I ever had time to work. Because I'm so busy.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
so
you act
busy
like you're
doing
not
other
busy.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been doing so much with like, you know, we had a meeting tonight, it's like, oh, I gotta do this and this and this, I've been busy all week. But, if you want, I will reach out to Lori. Lori, are you the liaison here for TCAM, or are you speaking just somebody you're all doing it on the board, or?
Yeah, Lori is actually the liaison for TCAM.
Okay, all right, so I'll reach out.
Sorry, I was looking for something, and yes, I'm the liaison for TCAM, and I've been working with them for over a year. So, and I wanted to say, and I hate to keep talking so much, but the information, I've been to their meetings, and they have hired a consultant to do a presentation for the town about the ins and outs and the value of what TCAM does. They don't need to tell me. I believe that TCAM is valuable in itself, even if it isn't perfect, because it's way better than nothing. So they hired somebody, and we should be hearing back, I think, within 2 weeks from him with a presentation. And we'll see what he says. But in the meantime, I will reach out to him about this issue of a meeting and how does his area work it, because he also runs a public access. He's down in the Quincy area, I think, and I could be wrong, so don't quote me there. But what I was doing was I was looking for his email while you asked me if I was on, and then I couldn't get back to my Zoom. So I will send him an email and alert him to this and see if he's got some feedback on that.
Okay, and if this group wants, I can like speak to, keep in touch with Lori, TCAM, and Kieran, our TA, about some of these things, about what, and as you, like you said earlier, Lori, you know, you're working on the contract, and I think I'd be very interested in making sure that there is something about the increasing accessibility for at least ADA as well as anybody else.
So there's a list of things we give them, and you know, it's like asking for the moon and hoping to get halfway there. So it will be on the list of things that we give them. I can promise you that.
Okay, great. And I'll talk to you and Kieran about that. I'll be a pest. Everybody's learning that I'm a pest. So, I will pester everybody to keep this on the front burner, because our whole mission here is making this stuff happen. So, all right. So let's leave town meeting access. We beat that to death today. Let me back up to 2.3 because I skipped right over, and I apologize for that. So the digital accessibility requirements. Dawn, you were.
Yeah, so the organization that runs the trainings through the state, like I said, there is a lot of information there. ACCESS is the acronym. It's the Accessibility Center for Consulting, Education, and Support Services. I have signed up for many of the live trainings. Like I said, I've done the fundamentals course. I have making accessible documents from Word to PDF. I have PDF remediation with Acrobat Pro, PowerPoint accessibility, social media accessibility, and accessible PDF forms. Social media accessibility is something that we're going to need to pay attention to now that we have a town Facebook page as well. I took a lot of notes, and I asked a few questions, and I learned a few things about, so when I was talking about the minutes, and I said I didn't want to go back and apply some things, I need to apply identifying them as header 1, header 2, header 3, header 4. And those are what we're using as all headers for every section of the document. They talked about how to add your alt text to different, like the town seal. It would just simply say Townsend Town Seal, not trying to, describe. It is a circle with the, and all of the things in there. It went over appropriate font sizes and font types for different software. and colors, and how many colors to have on a page, and how many ranges, and the minimums that are required. It also went over, it went through the 4 principles. It says which part of the WCAG we need to be within, which is 2.1 is our target. That's a much longer document, but it also took the things that it was teaching, and he explained how it impacts a screen reader, and why it's really important. One of the things, don't ever use a picture that has words on it. So you never put in a picture of words. You either have the text in there, or the picture is just a picture. So I already learned a lot in the first training. So I'm excited to dive in more. There are more trainings than this, but they weren't at times that I could get to as far out through April and early May. But when they add more, I'll register for those too, and I'm happy to do it. But I would recommend going onto the website and looking at those, because there are so many that are just public access. And then if you have questions about them, I'm happy to reach out to the office hours and ask those questions too. And so there's a video accessibility and a data visualization accessibility course that I haven't been able to get into yet, that I think would both be really helpful. As we're going to start doing our projections and things, we're going to need to make sure that all of those charts and graphs are accessible. That's a really specific, more in-depth course. And the video accessibility, obviously. I don't know if that's another thing that we'll need to be working with TCAM on, but I'm not sure exactly what. I was surprised by a lot of the stuff I already learned. Some of it seemed like common sense, and some of it you just never, like using an acronym, if it's a real, like another word, type out the whole thing. So, like access is a word, but you'd have to type out what it actually stands for, so that in context it makes sense. So, but they also said that there are 26% of Mass residents over 18 with a diagnosed disability. And only 4% of websites are accessible. AI is a huge problem because it's only as good as the information it's getting. And as we move forward, that's going to be a problem that we're going to need to be prepared for, because you can ask if something's accessible, it will tell you it is. You have to tell it why it's not, and then it will make the correction. But with people starting to talk more about AI and using that for different functions, that's going to be something we have to pay attention to.
I know some of the state offices ban it for use, like if they're doing Zoom meetings or anything, or conferences online, they actually ban the use of AI to do any interpretation on the side. A lot of times you go in to some of the webinars I'm going to, and they have to turn it off because it goes on automatically, and then they turn it off. And because people will start complaining and say, what is this doing? Is this recording me?
Yes.
And it's
exactly.
So the state, I think it's statewide, that the state offices have banned it for their own until they get control of the AI that's being bombarded on them. You can use AI to create documents, which is what you're referring to, that even, and I've played with AI. I got a paid ChatGPT account. They say, okay, I want to play with this, and you have to upgrade in order to do that. But I mean, it does a lot, but I get frustrated sometimes because you have to say, no, that's not what I want. And I'll say, start over. And no, we need to start over. And then ChatGPT apologizes.
I was going to say,
all right, I'm getting angry at a machine.
Right. But when you're on it too, sometimes you think of it as something, real. That's what it feels like. And that's why there's so many problems with that we won't get into.
It talks back to you, but it does talk to you.
It does. It understands your.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
It's creepy, and it's scary because people are taking it as like they're opening their Encyclopedia Britannica,
Right.
when really it's whoever put that information is,
Exactly.
you're getting what they thought was the right information. And it's not going to be correct when it comes to accessibility. The other thing we have to be
Right.
really careful of is like, if we're linking to another site that's not accessible.
Mhm.
That's also an
Makes sense,
issue. So, or we're pulling a form off of a site maybe that another agency used and we're like, oh, great, we can, use this, but we can't because it's not accessible. So there's a lot. There's a lot that's going to go into this. It's something that we really need to start learning now, and anybody putting anything on our website needs to start learning it now.
Or even like I was talking to Beth and Colby today. Beth is our planning board person and Colby does conservation. And they were, I was talking to them because I wanted to also let them know about the digital accessibility is my thing. We need to push on that because we only have till next April. But they're enthusiastic. I said, the more you do it, it's not, and I'm babbling now. It's not simply what we put on the internet, but when they interact with other companies and individuals who are trying to get permits. But when you're dealing with XYZ company, even their engineers, the people in the office might be disabled. They might be using technology. So you have to, when you're passing forms and permits and everything has to be accessible to everybody. And that's what the law is about, is
Right.
everything that we're pushing out, not just what goes on the web. The web is a whole, the WCAG is this whole thing, but
Yeah.
that's going to be probably the most time consuming is the historical stuff. But like I tell people, it's not, it sounds overwhelming, but it's not. Once you start taking the videos and you say, once you just get used to doing things a little different. There was a time when we didn't have laptops in front of us. We did everything on paper and an IBM Selectric. I still miss mine, but every once in a while. But right? Everybody's laughing.
Different.
You all had one.
Different, but not harder necessarily.
But we going to a laptop was good, but it was overwhelming a little bit. It's like, and you had to take classes to learn how to just get on. And I got on computers before we even had graphic user interface. It was everything was C prompt.
Yep.
And so you have to learn.
Yeah.
And that's all this is. And I don't think it's anywhere near as daunting as getting on the internet was.
Right.
Or just using a computer for Word. Word perfect, remember that? And
yes.
It was good, but it was horrible.
Yes, it was horrible. Word perfect was horrible. The other thing is, the email that came out about kind of making our town documents more uniform that you shared. If we're doing that, we should also be explaining how to do it in a way that's making it accessible. So, yes, it's great to have the town seal with alt text that says town seal of Townsend, Mass, or something as the instruction instead of just put the town seal. Or like a larger font title. It really needs to be, certain types of fonts, certain size minimum, certain colors, and also labeled as heading 1. Heading 1 is always going to be your title. He didn't get into on that training why we don't use title, but I will learn it in the next one. So my next one is word.
Dawn, I'm sorry about that, but I want you to know that I had trouble myself in the fillable form, which was not the direction that the committee was going. Okay, the work group that got this all together. So my suggestion is going to is to take 5 minutes with John, Jack, Corey, and he'll walk you through it. And if it's not working for a lot of people, he has to change the form to make an accessible, fillable form, because that was the instruction. Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Laurie. I was talking about the email that came out about just suggesting to the boards and committees about making the documents appear more uniform.
Yeah,
so
that's why they did the book.
Okay. Yeah. So,
but the form's supposed to be easy to use.
Yeah, if we can make the form fully accessible, then that is great. And that's what I was gonna say. Once we can create these templates,
Right.
it really is gonna be a lot
Right.
easier.
But the ADA accessibility, the digital accessibility is different than uniformity.
Right.
It is uniform.
Yes.
Sort of, well, it doesn't have to be, to be accessible, but there's underlying code in a document. And that code is what shows up in the difference between what Dawn is referring to as heading 1 and the word title.
Mhm.
They mean different things in the
In the screen reader.
If
Exactly.
somebody is disabled in their office or at home, they're using specific technology to read a document, not just like we're reading something on a screen, but if someone is visually impaired, they're using a screen reader technology. And digital accessibility requirements make things have to meet those requirements. And that's where even calling something in a template, heading versus title,
Right.
when the screen reader won't
Makes a
understand it or will read it as something else. So, that's where all this training that we are needing to do, and also our town employees need to do, in order to make everything work. But it's really, it feels daunting initially when you hear about it, but when people start to look at it, it's not. And these classes are relatively brief. How long are those?
This one was an hour.
Yeah.
Some of them are probably a little longer.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are any shorter.
Right, yes. Yeah.
But I would be happy to sit down with Jack and run through the document that he's created. And just
see if
check
it can be incorporated into what he can do.
I think for sure it should be able to
Sure.
be. And I don't remember.
And
I
it's
don't
an
know if that's a
ongoing,
word.
this isn't
If
something
it's a
that
Word
we
document,
could
it will
just do
certainly
next
be.
week. This is neat. We are working on this, like, I've sounded the alarm, because I want us, the town has a deadline that everything we do has to be digitally accessible by law by April of next year.
Mhm.
Cities and towns that are larger than us,
Thank God we're not.
their deadline is this month. Every document that exists in Fitchburg must be digitally accessible by the end of this month. And I think it's before the end of this month, actually. I think it's some weird date. But, but we have a year, but it's going to take that long to get us from where we are right now. We're already ahead because we are at least taking some of these classes, and we're raising the alarm to the rest of the town officials it's coming, we're helping you, we're going to be helping you. But I mean, we're trying to get up to speed. And I think us taking the classes is that heads up to get, so that we can work with the other town officials to calmly take this class. This is what you need to know. And anybody can be proactive.
Exactly.
And find some of them on their own. I know I'm doing, because I don't have access to the state one, I'm using, in that training form list I put out to everybody that has the different ADA training centers and different classes, they have a number of trainings as well on how to do this and this is why, and things like that. And I've been taking some of those, and those are they're all self-paced, and I've been enjoying them. And I like them too, because they're written at the 8th grade level. So,
Yeah.
I mean, which can be frustrating.
Which is part of the accessibility.
Yeah,
honestly,
and it's
he
like-
said,
That's true.
Okay, can we speed this up a
specifically
little
said
bit?
that.
But sometimes I need to, look, I need to rewind that. But it's, but they go over everything, and you really understand why we're doing this, and you get more enthusiastic about it.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And it makes sense, that we need to do this for everyone. Everyone has the same right to the access.
And I found another site. I was gonna send it out and I didn't yet. It's the federal government has a site because they have the same requirement, and it's section508.gov. They have everything is there. Including all the Acrobat ones. And how to and they have longer classes that you can do with different sections that can go on for hours. And then the shorter, very, very focused ones that you can do in 15 minutes if you just sit there and do it. But they really cover a lot of territory. They're very focused on particular software, which the state has those, but these are pretty decent. So, but there's just a lot of resources available for everybody, whether you're in government or not, but no matter what level of government or where you are in a government, to understand the requirements and actually be able to work through it. And even if you're working on a particular document, you can say, okay, this is a mess, I need to do something, and I don't remember. And nobody's gonna know the stuff off the top of their heads right away. So when we're getting our feet wet and practicing, like, Don, you wanna do the minutes and you wanna make sure that it's accessible. That's like a practice run, because we don't have to do it, but getting practiced is.
Well, the sooner we start, the better off we're gonna be a year from now. And I just had an idea of also, I mean, we could put together like cheat sheets also for the staff. So, you know, if you're doing a Word document, did you check this? Did you check this? You know, there are so many levels of things that need to be checked. So, for example, if you're using an image that's just decorative, that doesn't add to the context, you're not supposed to add alt text to that, because it's out of context, it inserts itself, it gets confusing on a screen reader. But if you don't mark it as decorative, AI is going to describe it in screen reader.
Right.
So there's all these other, I mean, things that I am not a technology person by any means, that we're just going to have to kind of figure out as we go. But I can certainly see a cheat sheet of some sort for different programs or different tasks being helpful to staff too.
In different departments, I think some departments really don't need to have all the frills.
Yeah.
They could get, you know, if you don't need the image, don't put it in.
Exactly. Exactly.
Make your job easier.
And even when you're putting in an image, if it's, you know, a man holding a baby, you don't say it's a man holding a baby. You say a man is smiling, looking at his baby. It has to be descriptive and provide the feeling of the image. So it's just very interesting.
And I think that just as you were talking, I realized that, you know, it's probably places like the library and the senior center who they produce a lot of picturesque documents.
Yes.
And their newsletters are just colorful, and I'm sure that they're not accessible. I'm sure.
There's probably too many colors on them.
And just, they have images all over the place, and in fonts all over, and which just on basic, looking at something with no disability involved, it's cool. And they probably think so too. And everybody that looks at it says, oh, this is done well. You do really good at this. Your graphics are cool. But when it comes to, they're not going to like us coming.
Or at least they'll have to mark it as decorative so that AI doesn't.
I mean, there's ways to do this too.
Yes,
and
exactly.
As we learn and take all these classes, we can learn how to do what they are doing. Like, there may be more that we need to know, that how can they continue to do what they're doing and still be accessible.
Exactly.
Right.
So
the basics of it.
Yeah. And I think the more we learn, the sooner we learn it, we're the resource for the town. Because I'm just trying to sound the alarm, as I say, but get people interested in this, and then be there to hold their hand and say, okay, here's the classes. I wanted to do up a similar sheet that what I did for you guys when you were coming on, the recommended trainings for ADA, but to sort out the recommended trainings and the source of them for employees.
And they should have access to these.
Who, like, the access to your,
even
and
doing
then
the
also
fundamentals one.
the access to the listing of the ones that those of us that don't have a town email, you know, if you want to do things just from home or just to share with other people. Because even if we're working with vendors and they're going to send us documents that we want to put up on the web, our departments are going to run into that. That, oh, wait a minute, people are sending us stuff. The vendors in a private industry don't have to do this as of yet. They don't have to make accessible documents, but once they give it to us, we have to make it accessible. So helping when they run into that wall a year from now, that they can give information to vendors and understand that, oh, this is all you have to do is go to this website and you can learn these classes
Mhm.
to make your documents accessible. And, I mean, not that they're gonna jump and do it, but, but we can, yeah. But these are, and other towns are, we're not the only, this isn't just a Townsend thing. We're not behind the curve. We're, I mean, right now, because we're sitting here, I mean, we're lucky enough to have put this commission together as quickly as we did, and that we're working on this right now. I think we're ahead of the curve, that we can, because, I mean, some places will wait till next March,
Right.
which is way too late. Just looking at.
I am breaking out in a sweat thinking about that. I'm worried about us getting everything done in a year, but I think that we can make a really, really lot of progress over a
Yes.
year and then
Yes.
keep building on it.
Absolutely.
The thing is, like, these regulations were put in place in 2015, and this is now just the law to enforce that the regulations are followed.
Exactly. Right.
So this,
And that,
you know,
nobody knew about it.
and thank God we're a small community. We have a year to figure it out. And I believe the Department of Justice has some resources available to us as well.
They're the enforcers.
Because as we're doing this, there is a cost to it, and budgets are an issue across the state, the country. And I believe it was the Department of Justice that has some resources if we do need help with stuff and we don't have it in the budget, we can reach out for certain things as well.
It's good to know.
But there is a kind of this training, not live-ish on the website. And I would really recommend it because it gives a little overview of everything except for the data, which he said, you're going to want to take that course. You know, like we know that that's going to be a complex one.
Yeah, and if Donna, if you have access to some of these trainings as you go, I think the basic ones, we can get some of the same information on some of the off the state website courses. But once some of those might be more advanced that we can't get other places. So you could teach us.
Yes.
Once we get to that level.
Yes.
Which could be a few
For
months from now.
sure.
But, you know, we can all grow as we take some of these classes and get
And I think
accustomed to them.
I'll put some of these notes into kind of start a cheat sheet, because as I'm doing the minutes, I'm going to be looking at the notes to see what I have to do, and I'm going to just write. So I'll just kind of put a process together, maybe for Word. And like I said, I'd be happy to sit with Jack about the fillable form and just making that accessible. The trick is, once it's been filled out, we have to make sure they didn't take any accessibility away, the person filling it out. So there's still that step, but I can also show them how to run the accessibility check once it gets back.
Right.
It is overwhelming, but I love a challenge.
Yeah.
And
It's one of those things, once you know it, you know it. And it's like, okay, and you just move on.
right,
And it's
right.
just like learning to ride a bike, you know.
It took a while to
I
learn
haven't
how
ridden
to
a bike in
type.
years,
Yep.
but I know I could do it.
Yes, exactly. We're learning to type, like
Yes, yeah.
That's the
ASD.
course I took in high school.
Yeah. So, so it was a lot, but it's overwhelming as it is. It's exciting.
It
We're going to be able to do this.
Yes, yes.
Because we have
we
another
do
year.
have, I think, just on the few employees I've spoken to, they are enthusiastic about it. So, and they want it, and they're looking forward to. I told them I would give them that cheat sheet of where to get training,
Yes.
and so they're looking forward to getting
Perfect.
on that. So, all right. Does anybody have anything else about digital accessibility? All right. Let's see, good time meeting accessibility. Okay, 2.5. Last time I talked about the MOD visit update. I did find it on the website. Their website is loaded, and I said I couldn't find it during the meeting, and it's like, I know I saw it, and I thought maybe they took it down, but they didn't. It's still buried there amongst all their information, and so we can't. They still are willing to attend a COD meeting, but I decided to hold off contacting them because on the 15th we have the statewide COD meeting, with them, so I figured I'd wait till that, because I think some of the conversation I might have with them might be premature if I wait to see what they have to say at the statewide meeting, and then I'll know what I need. I'll be better informed on what I need to talk to them about, and then to try to get something scheduled. And then we're in the crunch time for the grant, so everything's kind of flying. I don't know that we probably won't get them here that quick. Would be probably once the grant is opened and closed, and which we'll get to. But I will be getting on that, but I'm gonna wait till after the 15th. Hopefully, I might have something for you next month or the month after. So, but I just wanted to put that on there so I can give you an update.
On the statewide meeting, I can't be there on that date, so I'll do the one in 6 months.
Okay.
But I would love to obviously hear about it at the
Yeah,
next
I'm looking
meeting,
forward
so
to
if
it,
we
because
put
I think
that
it
on.
will be
I think
informative. They do it twice a year for all the CODs. And,
I did register for the June 2-day start of the CAM training though,
great,
so.
great. That'll be good. That is a great training. If anybody has time to do it's on the MOD website, it's 2 days in a row online. I mean, if you can handle Zoom for 2 solid days. I fell asleep. I have to confess that I did doze off. Because on the second day,
We won't tell them.
I think it was cold or something, and I just sitting on my bed and I just kind of dozed off. I said, oh my gosh, and they were on a break when I woke up, and I said, where did they go? But it is very good. I should not have fallen asleep, and I should not have confessed that. But it wasn't long. It was just brief.
We're all human.
I know, but I mean, it was really very informative. It goes over all the ADA, the basic ADA, and then into the things that the community access monitors, what the CAM is, and you learn how, what the rules are, and you learn how to do the measurements of bathroom access, door entryway access, parking space, slopes, and you understand why those yellow things are in the curb cuts.
Yeah,
it's really, it's
I'm looking forward
it's
to it.
very informative and very helpful.
I think that's the other thing we have to keep in mind. This digital accessibility is a huge undertaking, but it's only one piece
It is.
of what we
Exactly.
have to do here.
Yep.
But that's June 10th is that next one, so.
Okay.
You just register for it and they send you a link. if
Yeah, and
you're
once you get
interested.
the 2-day, the doors open for other trainings, because, and I get invitations to additional advanced trainings, and I'm doing an online one it's just a couple hours on May 7th. And then I'm doing a 3rd day in person. I have to go out to Springfield because they have them in different parts of the state. And you have to sign up real quick because they fill out the night. So I have to go to Springfield because I forgot to sign up right away. So I have to drive all the way to Springfield. It was either that or Fall River. It was, so I'm glad I got in Springfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, and then my first choice had been Salem, but it was full. But I could probably get better parking.
That's August. Did you say August?
I think it's August. I have to look, I think it is, yeah, for that. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. And that's where that in-person one is when all the Zoom stuff that I fell asleep for. But all the Zoom stuff about them taking measurements, you actually do it. They have a place where they teach you.
Hands-on is always.
It's all those
nice.
things.
9 and 6 little lines.
That's how I
Yeah.
measure too, so.
We actually get to do pull out our tape measures and figure and make sure that everything is according to the ADA. So that's gonna be fun.
Awesome.
Let's see. Okay, request to repost. I have to do this. I forgot. I don't know I needed to read the minutes over or watch the video, but I don't remember if we voted on that or.
You mentioned it when we were running through the law that governs us and the formation of our committee,
Right.
that we might want to think about it, but we didn't do a vote on it.
Yeah, okay, so, I mean, I do, since if Natalie, I mean, I'm sorry, we have to get to voting on Natalie, which is coming up, but, we have 5 members then. So, but we don't, and that's all we ever posted for. We posted for the bigger one, but then I had a misunderstanding of quorums, and if you're 5 to 13, how much is a quorum? And I'm like, and I was not as expecting to fill up this fast anyway. So I said, why don't we just post it for 5 so it's workable? And so that's what Sabrina did. So I want to make sure that we want to go ahead and, when we voted on it at town meeting to create this commission and the law, the chapter 48, section 8J, the commission is supposed to be between 5 and 13 members. And we've completely legally authorized that, but we just posted it for just 5. In fact, when they appointed, I can't remember how it got done. We did mine and then we did me again. And I think that's when we changed the posting, but either way. But I guess, like to have a motion that we request that the town repost the commission's vacancies to make it a 5 to 13 member group, as opposed to increase it from the 5 to 13.
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor? Oh, second, all those in favor?
Yes.
And we have one member remote, so we have to be roll call. Use your name. Say your name.
Don Priest, yes.
Kelly Burke, yes.
Yasmir?
Jasmine, yes.
Thank you.
Cindy.
And Cindy, yes. I keep forgetting. I get everybody, and I forget to say my own. Yes, yes. Okay, so that's, well, I'll get on to that tomorrow or whatever, next week. All right. Okay, new member application and recommendation. I didn't send everybody her volunteer form, but I think Natalie has volunteered to be on the commission, and I think I'll let Natalie introduce herself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Nothing, you don't have to go into 20-minute dissertation, but introduce yourself and why, what interests you about being on the commission, and have we scared you off already?
Compared to what?
But the VFW, I mean, is this worse than the
I could, it's on tape, right?
Yes, we're being recorded.
Veteran service officer, did over 25 years total time in service. I served in Operation Iraqi Freedom 2. I'm 100% disabled for PTSD. 5 kids, my 4th husband. Now, I'm happily married, living in West Townsend. Very active with the VFW, American Legion, and DAV. I drive for DAV. I'm driving spring, Pittsfield tomorrow, actually. It gets me away from my phone. I have veterans calling me, which is a lot easier than meeting them in the office, and that's the main reason I give them my personal number. They would, a lot of them prefer to meet someplace else. I won't say where, but it's on their preference because it can be, it's more of a private matter. But it's, all documented and everything else like that. I'm not accredited yet. I'm hoping to be accredited one of these days, but it's a learning process. So I've been doing this, a little bit over 3 years, 12 hours a month. Yeah, okay, sure. But I'm a veteran, so a veteran's a veteran. Yeah, I mean, I have the time. I make the time. Again, I'm a disabled vet, so walking and being physically as well as PTSD. So I manage. My husband works nights, which is great. So I have the free time during the day to do what I want to do and when I want to do it. So I get a little bit. Cindy and I have a few things in common. So look, we multitask, and this is something other than Housing Authority, Flag Committee, Council on Aging, Capital Planning. I hope not, but I keep myself busy. I have to. At my age, I have to. We won't go there. But no, I like the difference, especially with the disability, because I park in a handicapped spot because I have a couple issues. Walking is one of them per se, so it makes more sense to what people go through and how people get around, especially when you go grocery shopping as much as I do for the VFW. But it's just the whole thing. The age, you could be young and be disabled. There's not a specific age, but it's just you're more aware of your surroundings. You're more aware of what you're doing. I'm already thinking about what some places need, they should have. We have the handicapped spots over at the VFW, but there's some other things that we would need to have when we're, when that time comes, but at least gives you an idea. We do have a stair lift at the VFW as well, so we do have that. And everything is, pretty leveled where we are, but a couple things like opening the door, that type of thing,
Mhm.
but, you know, but no, this interests me a lot. It's personal. That's me.
So you work a lot with disability, I mean,
I'm gonna say,
I mean,
well,
the
yeah.
requirement to be on this committee is the majority of us have to have a disability.
Oh,
And so and the reason for that is because we have a different awareness. We're more attuned to our surroundings and what the disabled people need. And
Yeah,
I know even for myself getting on here, realizing that there's a lot of disabilities that even, you might have one disability, but you're not necessarily aware of all the other ones that, oh yeah, there's all these other things that we need to also be attuned to.
well, yeah, and I have a son that's ADHD. I mean,
Yeah,
so I
there's-
have 5 kids and they're all
Mhm.
empty nesters and 2 Yorkies and 2 goats. So that keeps
So
us.
being on this commission, we're able to,
It gives you a different, it gets me away from, I'm sorry, it gets me away from being a veteran for a while. No, it does. I mean, somebody can relate, I mean, it's something other than what I'm constantly doing. And it's like, it gives me a break, like driving for DAV, it gives me a break. I need that break. So, and it's a good, it's just good for me because I'm a disabled vet. I mean, so we help each other all the time. We know what it's like to be in a foxhole, trying to get out of it. Well, it's another story. But, yeah, we're pretty attuned to a lot of people.
that's why there's 2 people in a foxhole. If you can do that.
I need a ladder.
Whoever has the most difficulty getting out gets out first.
Yeah, that's why I retired. But no, Iraq was enough for me. Iraq was, almost a year, so. Got back, had my 20 letter, and that was a no-brainer. And I was dual status too. We did Operation Iraqi Freedom too. We were into Crete, so it went boom booms. There's a lot of boom booms over there, so.
Yeah.
And burn pits and everything else like that, but we get through it. The VA's been great. I can't say enough about the VA. I had open heart surgery there a few years ago. And, the VA, you have your good and bad, but, you see the disabilities. It's not age. It has nothing to do with age in any shape or form. So it's a mindset. It really is, can be a mindset, and it's a physical too, so. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to recommend Natalie to come, for the select board to, appoint Natalie to the commission.
Sounds good.
I would just like to, well, thank you first on this. And I love that you are already thinking about how you can take this and spread it.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, there are so many, I mean, I say every single person is differently abled than the next.
Yeah.
And so, my role here is as a family member of a disabled, my son. And I think she's a great fit, but I just wanted to put that
Okay.
on the
You
record.
go for ice cream afterwards.
Yeah, I know, Sunday drive.
Yes.
Love that
place.
John Priest would make a motion to ask the select board to appoint Natalie to commission.
Second.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Jasmine Santiago. I want to second Natalie Call as a disabled vet as well. Natalie, it's been a while, but I second the motion. Welcome to the crew.
Thank you.
All right.
I want to echo what Don said, because I do appreciate your service. I know that we talked at the Lions Christmas party, and you told me all the things that you just said, and I appreciate
What you see is what you get.
Yeah, and so anyway, but I think a great addition too.
Thank you. I'm going for ice cream one of these days.
I love
Sunday
that. I love that
drive.
idea. One of my favorite places.
Okay, we should have ice cream at our
See, now
meeting.
we have 2 veterans and 2 mothers of disabled kids.
Okay,
I have my own
I
disability.
never
Yes,
introduced
I-
myself. I'm also a
We all
disabled
do.
veteran.
Yeah,
I'm
yes.
retired
Yeah.
military as well,
Yeah.
so Natalie and I think we probably were passing
I think we
in the
did.
same building and,
Oh.
because you were in the 804th building.
We know the same
323rd.
people.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, we're in Alexandria.
there we go.
The majority of us are actually disabled veterans, so,
Yeah, oh, yeah,
which I didn't expect to have happen on this commission, but,
No,
I've been surprised every day that we've had this
Yeah.
thing going, so.
yeah.
But
Makes a
I'm grateful
difference.
for all of everybody that's come on here. So all those in favor of Natalie coming on?
Kelly Burke, yes.
John Priest, yes.
Jasmine, yes.
And Cindy, yes.
Thank
Or Cindy King, yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
So, okay.
So will you do you submit something to the select board for their agenda for her?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do,
Yeah.
I'll do something.
That's one in. I say yes.
Let's see. And, yeah, because Natalie, yeah, I'm not Natalie. I had talked to Sabrina, she gave me Natalie's application a few weeks ago, so I told her that we'd have this meeting tonight, and then, so I'll get back to Sabrina, and then I think the select board meeting next week, so it'll probably be official next week,
Yay.
I assume,
I'll get sworn in.
if they get it on the agenda.
They will.
If they don't, I'll call right away, so make them do a revision.
One way or the other, right?
Yeah, we'll get you, we'll make it.
I've already requested it to put on the agenda.
Okay, cool.
Just let them know. The other thing is, it dawned on me afterwards when, yes, I call her Yasmir. Jasmine, I call her a lot of things. When she said, yes, Lori's the liaison to TCAM, she is the clerk of the corporation for TCAM.
Oh, that's right. I think I saw that on something. I was looking at something and I saw her name.
And
Yes,
I've
I
already
am officially the clerk now.
yes, she is, as of their last meeting. And I've sent a message to Eric Dresser with the question about how do they handle their town meetings for the disabled or those that can't make the meeting. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay, 3.2, the MOD, which Massachusetts Office on Disability, annual grant information session is going to be April 23rd. I have already signed up to attend that, and Kieran as well. Kieran is our town administrator, and he's also a grant writer.
Yeah.
So we're going to be attending that. And I've been talking to a few people quickly, because this is just, this is an annual thing, but they just put the announcement out. So I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to, oh my goodness, I got to get, because it's short fuse. The grant opens up on May 1st and closes June 12th. So we have to have a grant ready to go. So, so we need to have, and since we're meeting once a month, we're not meeting again till the first week of May. And I don't want to force us to have more meetings. Just, I want to try to, if we can last through this tonight. Although there's different things that we could put in for the grant. In the past, you're familiar with the Kids Country Playground. And that upgrade, the disability, it was mostly that was an ADA improvement grant, this grant that made that possible, what they did over there. And then they combined additional donations and things. They really put a lot into that playground, and that was this grant. Okay. And so that's just an example of some of the things that we can do. And I think there were a couple of, that wasn't the only time they had applied, if I'm not mistaken, because they don't give it to you every year. And we didn't get one. We didn't get a grant last year. And that's usually, they don't give you one every year. You can apply every year, but that doesn't mean you're going to get one. So I'm hoping that we can get something in place. In fact, the grant business was, after last year's grant, I knew that one of the requirements was to have an active COD, and we didn't have one. And that was, when I saw that, that's what got me motivated to get appointed and then get this commission off the ground so that we could be eligible. Because it's kind of a new thing that is a high priority on the grant awarding, is that you need to have an active COD. And because we're supposed to be the ones generating the ideas and looking at the town as a whole and in coming up with what we would need. So, so I really like to be able to put in something viable. And some of the two things that we've been talking about the most is digital accessibility and town meeting accessibility. And, you know, I was talking to Kieran, and it's just in my, please correct me if I am wrong, but as daunting as this digital accessibility is, it's something we can do without paying somebody to do it for us. And it's something that all of our employees, and we have to learn how to do, but, you know, hiring an instructor isn't going to get it done any quicker. It's going to take more time, but, and there are resources available, and we are a resource as well to get this. And we've got a year that I don't think we need a grant to do the digital accessibility. I could be wrong, and if these guys think I'm wrong, say so. But the other thing is that town meeting accessibility, and moving, just kind of shift a little bit on town meeting accessibility, but thinking about upgrading Memorial Hall with the audiovisual needs on the focus on accessibility, and so that the technology is there. I know if you've been to meetings in there relatively recently, Dawn, and I think Natalie too. I mean, Kelly, I don't know if you've come to town meeting in Memorial Hall, but it's awful. The acoustics are terrible. The microphones don't work. And I think Lori will attest to being at the select board table and the mics are just, can anybody hear me? You know, and, you know, trying to, which way do I hold it? You know, I mean, but we just need a major league upgrade, and including, you can't have, like, we can't meet in Memorial Hall to have our meeting because none of this technology is even there. You lose it all when you go into Memorial Hall. And you can have a meeting in there, but only you can record things, but you can't do Zoom, you can't do whatever you're going to do. And if you're in the meeting, if you're in the room, if you're on the balcony, or if you're in the back of the room and you're trying to figure out to hear or see the screen, even there's a lot of glare, which is a separate thing, but just the screen, even reading the screen is difficult. But if you're in the back of the room, heavens forbid if you have a hearing or visual problem, to figure out what's going on, it's hard. And the microphones, there aren't enough of them. And
they work sometimes.
Yep, batteries die. I mean, these are things. I mean, the thing, I'm not like complaining about anyone or anything like that, but I'm saying we could. I have this picture. If you go to a town that has a lot of money, or if you go to a corporate event, or even at a hotel or a major conference, a big conference, where there's a lot of people in the room, 600 people, you might see, as you're in the hall, there's TVs mounted on the sides, and everything is being either using Zoom or using some technology so that whatever's happening on the stage, you can see and hear no matter where you are in the room. And the microphones work, and the acoustics are good. And I'm thinking that, and we're on a very short fuse, we certainly don't know what technology we need to purchase. None of that. We can't do that in one. Even if it were our field of work, we probably couldn't do that. So one types of grant that they do give are studies, or so you can hire, have a study done where a company can come in and look at our Memorial Hall and give us estimates, or this is what our vision is, and give us different packages. This is what you need. This is what you can get, what we can provide for you, or somebody can provide for you, because the people doing the study aren't necessarily the vendors that are going to do the work. But this is the technology on any given day, because it changes things are obsolete by the time you get to actually putting things in place. But to have a study done to give us an idea of what we need to make that room fully accessible with all the best, or the appropriate technology. Doesn't have to be top of the line, but what technology do we need? What kind of even infrastructure, structural, because the acoustics are not necessarily, technology isn't going to fix that, but there should be something that can be done about the acoustics in that room. Because you can't hear the person next to you, because the sound bounces off the ceiling or what have you. The building inspector, he said it's plaster. Okay. But I mean, there are things you can do acoustically. And I talked to him about this too, and he agrees that, doing a study would be an easier way to get a grant written. And I talked to Kieran about this too, that, doing a study and just doing some legwork to find out, which I already have some places to call that would lead us to getting an estimate. Because first we can get an estimate on how much would a study cost for the grant. But on a lot of these types of grants, that the planning grants or the study grants, they're happy they approve those because they don't have a lot of technical details either, and they're probably more reasonably priced. I mean, some of the grants they give from the state on the ADA improvement grant is up to $100,000. So anything we could ask for in a study, I think, would be a reasonable ask, and a reasonable ask for Kieran and to write the grant as well. Because I mean, everybody that I've talked to, I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And you understand the Memorial Hall and what we could look at because if we can get at least get the study, and then even if we have to wait 2 more years to actually, because we probably won't get a grant the second year, but if we get a future grant, it would still be an ADA improvement to actually get some of it accomplished.
I agree with everything that you said. I think as far as making Memorial Hall accessible, there's going to be a little bit of a ripple effect, because I think parking is a big problem too here, and that might play into it. I don't know if we would need to make sure, I don't know if that would be part of it. They may, I don't know. But then there's some smaller things too, like the TVs and the acoustics are, some big things, but then having the technology for somebody maybe who we vote verbally, but not everybody is verbal. And so having some technology so that, everybody can vote, voice or not. And then some other technology, which when I subbed at a school, I remember this from, for hearing something else that's helpful, or just I don't know what they're called, so I'm totally going to botch this, but the headphone with the the recorder,
closed loop system.
and it's
exactly
connected.
What I talked about
Okay,
earlier.
so I mean, and
Yes,
you can get, I mean, that equipment itself isn't that expensive. It was, and so there's like these other things too, but so I would love to do that, to get a study to really do a detailed evaluation of what the needs would be, making sure that we're thinking about everybody. I mean, permanent disabilities and temporary disabilities and, processing disabilities and physical disabilities and I always just say different abilities, but, I love it. I love the idea of doing that. I wonder if we would be in a position to be able to bring our town meetings back here. I don't know realistically space-wise if we could, but I would still love to see.
I don't know if it's true, but I was told that the number of seats is the same.
That's
It's not
mind-blowing
the seats.
because it feels like 2 climates.
It's not the seats. It's because this is just
Yeah, no kidding.
audiovisually, it's
Okay.
a mess. A Memorial
And
Hall
then
is just-
parking's
and
an issue too.
parking is too.
Yeah. So if we could maybe,
Yeah.
if we can include that in them, I'm sure they would, but, I would love to see
And
that.
town hall can be used for other things, not just town meeting. I mean, that seems to be
Exactly.
the big event, but there's other meetings like I'm gonna get to. There's, we've got a state ethics training coming in,
Mhm.
and there's different, we've had trash meetings, we've had,
Any of the
different
public
types of public hearings that can occur, or even the Townsend Historical Society has their meeting in here. annual meeting. And there's different groups within the town, that it can be more usable if we have technology that is just plug and play, really.
Yeah.
And even we might not be able to, well, getting the study done can include all the tools that you're referring to, but even making it accessible for the tools.
Mhm.
Like, so even with changes in technology, that it's connectable. If we have the technology built in to Memorial Hall, then even as with advances in technology, there aren't much upgrades to be done, or everything is still pluggable. Like a USB port is a I mean, those are changing, but there's
Right.
but there's things that you can get better. And one thing that I like about making things accessible for the disabled, it makes things better for everyone. That when you make it something more accessible for a disabled person, it gets better for everyone. And my vision of having those TV screens, which is showing something that's live on the stage, like if you're sitting in the balcony and having a TV screen, you don't have to be disabled to say, I like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I don't have to strain to see what's in it, the closed caption.
The kind of pinnacle of this in my mind as you're talking is the Dragonfly Theater at the Acton Boxborough Junior High School. And I have gone to a fully accessible show there, and it's a mix of actors on stage, and there are screens with, basically the CC of the play, I guess. And there is a sign language interpreter for every actor on the stage, off to the side, and it blew my mind. I was like, I absolutely love this. As I'm sitting there with Dylan watching it, and he's just fascinated by the interpreters,
Yeah.
But their auditorium there is perfection. I mean, they have everything, and it's all set up that way. So it might be something to look at as kind of a model of an idea for a starting point.
And when I was talking to Karen, we were also talking about the different levels that we'd be asking for too. That, we want the Cadillac version.
Mhm.
And when we get, study, we don't necessarily want, just tell us everything, and that in order to do this, we're going to need $1 million to make this happen. Give us the $1 million version, give us different levels of affordability, and, between minimum and what's the most we could ever do in this room.
Yeah.
And then so that when the study's done, we have a document that will be a living, breathing document that we can, it isn't going to just get rejected because it's ridiculously expensive,
Mhm.
but that, okay, this is
where we
something that's
start.
manageable.
Phase it out for us.
And then because we have the Commission on Disability, we can also work with the bean counters and other boards that might say, oh my gosh, no. But we can say, wait a minute, we can work with this,
Mhm.
and I think, but I mean, I was just thinking the study is the most reasonable thing that we could actually produce, to get the grant.
And I think going forward with the years, you were saying, we wouldn't necessarily get the same grant again, but we could ask for different things based on that study, that wouldn't be asking for the same thing in the grant.
Right.
But
I mean,
provide
it's still
some
not
funding to do that.
accomplished. I mean,
right.
in 2 years, we'd be more eligible for, and we could actually wouldn't count on it entirely, but whatever the study shows us, we might be able to ask.
Right. Additional.
We'd ask anyway. I mean, we should apply it every year, no matter what.
Right.
But
that's
even
how
if
we
it's
would
2
do it.
years down the road, and then, but even once we have the study done, we might want to do some of these things before, outside of a grant, if there's other grants
exactly
available. Because there's technology grants that come out. And accessibility, the accessibility is the big buzzword across everything, all grants. So getting the study done could open more doors all over the place. It'll give TCAM something to do.
Yeah. I'd love to see kind of the phase one really incorporate our must do's.
Certainly.
And then kind of level up with our nice to haves and our like, hey, look what we have, you know?
Yeah, and I think the organizations, it wouldn't just be some AV contractor. It would be somebody who specializes in accessibility in government meeting halls like this.
Yeah.
And what is it, NILP, that Northeast Institute for Living or something. I can never remember what the acronym stands for, but they did our transition plan. And I think that they're the first people I'm gonna call to see who they know in the business that would do this kind of thing. And I think that they would be a great resource. And I know Bob Garside said he's gonna look up, see what he knows on people that might be in this business too.
Cindy, if you don't mind, I have to jump off because I have to go to another meeting. But I wanted to say that I have wanted to bring the meetings back to town hall. You know, we have the elevator, we made it accessible, and we can hold 400 people. It's not, it's a little crowded, but I've already asked, I already sent another message to Karen about it, and just look at how many we've had at the last few meetings. We haven't gotten 200, let alone 400,
Right.
So which we, at one point we said it's got more room, that's where we need to be, but we'll see if we can't get that back. I want to thank you all for your time and dedication to this. I think it's a really worthy committee, and I think you're going to do some great work. Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you
Lori.
for coming.
Thank you.
Hi, Laurie.
Thank you, Lori.
I mean, I'd love to make a motion then are we encompassing getting the quote to, I would say that,
Be as generic as possible.
Make a
and I'll
motion
continue to work with Karen.
to
get the
authorize
grant.
Cindy King to work with the town administrator to perform any necessary administrative tasks to ultimately
grant and
apply
for the
for
grant.
the grant.
As a study grant for town,
For
for
a
Memorial Hall.
study for updating Memorial Hall
Accessible.
to be
Yeah,
accessible.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
You can write the minutes and,
I will.
all right, so
I'll second that.
name,
Kelly Burke.
okay. All those in favor?
John Priest, yes.
Kelly Burke, yes.
Jasmine, yes.
Okay, and did I say
Cindy?
Cindy, yes. Of course, yes. Okay, thank you. Make it easier.
It's wonderful.
That's great.
Okay, all right. Work session, we're on our home stretch.
Okay.
All right, I put in a report of the chair because I want to update you on some of the things I've been doing. 4.11 is meeting with Groton ADA coordinator. I went out to Groton and met with Michelle Collette, she's an ADA coordinator who's not a building inspector, and she's been really active with their commission. And so, I knew her from other things, so I said, oh, let me see if Michelle will sit down with me and just, because I was really looking for guidance on where we're at and, recommendations on, how to, are we doing it right? And because I want us to be successful, and she was really excited about it. And yeah, they call their commission the Commission on Accessibility, and which sometimes change the name to stuff, and it's like I like staying with. I personally like Commission on Disability only because the state, that's everything is called it that, and if we call it something else, somebody's going to get confused and say we don't have a Commission on Disability, and you know how it goes. So
Right.
and so but it was I really don't have much to report other than it was very pleasant. She what's the word I want? Confirmed basically that having the good diversity of the disabled people like we've got right now, people with different strengths and different backgrounds and different interests, and that we're able to put things together. And she said over the years that they've had, some people on their commission with significant disabilities, and were really the activists. So some people come onto a commission with an activist mindset,
Mhm.
and then sometimes that's very helpful because, okay, you need this particular accessibility and you're gonna fight to get it and make that a priority. And, you know, she told some of those stories and we met over at their senior center, which is pretty new
Mhm.
and it's really up to date.
Yes.
It's very
It's a lot.
modern and she showed
Called
it
the
off.
center.
Huh?
It's not called the senior center anymore. It's called the center.
Whatever.
Yeah. No.
That's a big movement around the
It
state.
was a
center.
big, it was a big,
The
yeah.
center.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you know, just to sidetrack, you know, I kind of laugh when people bring up the law about the over 40 in employment. If you're over, the age discrimination is over 40, that's like everybody's over 40. What do you mean age discrimination? You know,
I know.
we're all over 40, some of us.
Yep.
But anyway, that's my side joke. But, yeah, but I mean, yeah, that's a really, I've really got a lot of cool stuff over there. And, but, yeah, I mean, it was just, and she, you know, recommended, you know, she keeps a binder with all the, particularly stuff like that comes from CAM, you know, all the laws.
Mhm.
So you can be up to speed on, everything all the time. And, I personally, I mean, I try to keep away from paper. I try to do things
I'm all paper.
online and because you know, I've learned that you get too much paper, you start having paper everywhere.
It's
And
fair.
it's, but, you know, it took a lot for me to stop printing everything and keep things somehow organized on this. That way I can better find things. It's still hard. Where'd I put that? Where's that file? And actually I had to get Dropbox to help me. But, yeah, but having all that information, because there's a lot as we were doing this, but, and having all the resources, because we always need to consult with others outside of the town on who can help us with a particular issue that comes up.
Sure.
And I did not put it on our agenda yet, but I probably will, that they put on their agenda concerns and complaints. Because, I mean, they've been going for a few years, but when people will bring things up, or for us, like as you guys are out and all of us are out in the community, we'll notice things and we want to bring things up that aren't necessarily what we were planning. You know, what concerns and complaints, we can bring those up. Hey, you know, we're out and about and we noticed that this intersection, there was an accident and now it's inaccessible, you know, something got broken and people can't cross the street anymore. Right there, or, you know, something,
yeah.
or with the winter. There were a bunch of things that I realized, and I was even looking up bylaws. The winter's gone, so I decided not to put it on the agenda, but you know, snow was piling up this winter. And there were a lot of violations of our bylaws that are all about accessibility.
Mhm.
And, at some point, as we approach winter again, I know I'm gonna throw that on our agenda to make sure that we have somebody to enforce things like that. But that would be, you know, something to put under if someone has concerns or complaints. But it was a very helpful meeting, and I think, talking to other communities and working on things together, especially when we're just getting off the ground here. So, I think, using other communities to help us out, I think is a really good thing. All right, 4.1.2. Last month, I attended a symposium online, one of those 8-hour Zoom meetings. Yeah.
No.
It was a deliberation and division making change at the New England Town Meeting. It was put on by UMass, their political science division, and it was, I got an email about it. I don't know if it was through MMA or through some other thing. I'm signed up for everything. So, but I signed up to attend it, and because it seemed exciting, because it was going to be about town meeting, and of course just with the disability thing. I didn't expect it to be about disability. And most of it was not, but it was about is in 3 segments: the history of town meeting, present town meeting, and the future of town meeting. And really interesting. I sent everybody the link to the YouTube. They did a YouTube, which is a different angle. When I was watching on Zoom, I was at the stage. So it's harder to hear in the YouTube version. You have to turn your volume up and listen.
Mhm.
And it's just hard to do. It's a 5-hour video.
Easy to fall asleep.
So it's a sleeper. It's a sleeper if you watch it because of the angle you're at on the YouTube. And I wish it was better, but just who was recording what. Because it's not a Zoom, it's not a recording of the Zoom, it's a recording that they had a camera at the back of the room. Which is like putting it in our memorial hall.
Yeah.
Which they had some of the microphones were connected to that and some of the microphones weren't. So I apologize for the YouTube video being tough. But what I want to bring your attention to is the 3rd section. So if you're really into the history of town meeting, listen to the first third. But if you really want to get into the future of town meeting, which talks about the disabled access, listen to the 3rd section. And I was thrilled that they talked about remote access to town meeting. And I have to go back and watch the video myself to see which town said that they're fully accessible.
Mhm.
They are on completely remote.
Yeah.
And there's a few.
Only for disabled.
I think so.
Because we, like, those
I
will
have
be
to go back, I have to go back,
separate.
and- but they,
Okay,
yeah, I believe it, yes, I believe that is
Okay.
the fact. And of course, as this section began, there was that belief, that, oh no, town meeting is in person only,
Mhm.
oh no. And then the hands started going up, or the conversation moved to, I mean, everybody was respectful and stuff. It wasn't like a town meeting. It was very well done. It was really well. I mean, it was university put this on, so they're used to this kind of lecture stuff. But they talked about, yes, the ADA, and yes, it is, some people were very adamant, no, it's required. And a lot of people were taken aback, like, really? But some of the communities were able to do the access for the disabled. They understand the ADA, and other communities are at different levels of trying to get there. And that was really, and then of course, just the future of town meeting with or without disabled access, that's gotta be where we're going. Because that's where the world is. And, the old school might say that will be the end of town meeting, but not really. I think that is just moving on to the next level of life. If you want young people to get involved with democracy, you got to go where they are, and that's online as well. But I think I was really excited when they did start talking about the disabled access, and yes, this is exactly what I wanted. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I sent you all the link to the YouTube video so that you can, at your leisure. I don't expect anybody to sit there for 5 hours and watch it, but if you just want to look for the final third, and fast forward until you can find. And I'm going to go back and try to, if I can get a handle on who said what town they were from when they were talking about the fully accessible. And so, it was really worth it. And just watch it while it was on Zoom. And they had technical difficulties on there, but it wasn't that bad. But the history was amazing. If you're interested in the history of town meetings, it goes back farther than I knew. But,
Awesome.
yeah, but it was really good. If they have anything like that again, I will, even though it doesn't necessarily say disabled, I'll send it to you just for informational purposes. Because everything, I mean, so much goes back, and accessibility comes up and so many things now. So, all right, I had this 4.13. I had this really weird brain thing. you know, those sudden, oh, I got this great idea.
Mhm.
And
Light bulb moments.
yeah, and so I've calmed down quite a bit. I put regionalization down, which is kind of a ridiculous idea because we're brand new in here. Cindy's putting on regionalization. What is this about? So I'm like, really, I almost was going to scrap it. It's like, no, I put it on there. I'm going to talk about it. But I had, I was just thinking about the grant, and I know that I had met the town administrator for Ashby last fall at a conference. And she, the town administrator is also the ADA coordinator for Ashby. They're really small, and she has 15 hats that most town administrators don't have.
Yeah.
And she was really excited about this grant, the ADA grant that they had put in for, and they were hoping that they, you know, had received it. And, you know, I said, I knew already that they needed to have, in order to expect to get a grant, they were making it really important that you have a COD, and they don't. So I said, oh, you know, and so I was watching for when the grants came up, and Ashby did not get the grant. And I mean, and I felt bad ever since. But, you know, and I said, you know, if we're able to put it for grant, we're doing, this is the catalyst for me to really push to get the COD off the ground, that, you know, maybe we can help them out. But then, and I even talked to Karen about it, and then the money started to come into the head, and it's like, that means we're not a town anymore.
Right.
It's not the town's money. So I'm completely off the formal regionalization. It's not a good idea. I think it's a brainstorm I had that's not that great.
You know, just to back up what you're saying, I think regionalization does make sense in a lot of areas. And there are a lot of councils on aging in those smaller communities that are getting together and, you know, doing a memorandum of understanding with other towns and things like that. So I don't think it's as outlandish as you may think it is.
Right.
I think that, you know, we have to be open to that as well, because I see the value of doing that. And so I'd like to keep it on, just because I think it's a good idea too. And I think, you know, the way that overrides are in every community now, I think that we're going to be seeing more of it in our business with COAs. And so.
And even as I was going to get to that, the normal formal regionalization, I think, is not, I wouldn't want to give up, you know, like we only get one grant between the two towns, or we have to debate with another town about what the priorities are.
There'd be a whole list of things.
But I think if it's legally possible, that we can, you know, team up on a number of areas to share strengths and knowledge and to get things accomplished, to service each other as best we can, and as an information resource, even in a formal way, like an MOU would be. I like your idea that if there is some in-between level, so that we're not getting into losing any financial.
That's always the problem. You know, I just as an aside, when I was the director in Northborough, I got together with the director in Marlborough and the one in Hudson, and we did a memory. It was all about dementia. And so we enabled the program, and Hudson, in that example, took over the kind of fiscal management. And, you know, I would send over money that I had gotten to the program, you know, to Hudson to be accounted for and all that. But, you know, it was something that didn't usually happen, that money would cross town boundaries, right? And so I know that it's a little bit of takes a little bit of maneuvering, I guess you'd say.
Right.
But I think it's good to keep it on the agenda, because, you know, it can work. And I see a commission like ours doing that with another community.
Okay.
You know?
And the thing that I was thinking, I mean, the big thing that got my brain going was the grants, that, because we're back in grant season.
Yep.
And I don't know, I haven't watched to see what's going on in Ashby, and I haven't spoken to her since. But that if they don't have a commission, even on, I don't know that they've even voted to have one created in the town meeting yet.
Right.
I don't know if it's on their warrant for this year. I will end up checking, but, if they don't, or if they would entertain, like, if we could have, like, some kind of shared commission,
Yeah.
so that they can get their own grant. Like, if they can't get 5 people together, because the law says 5 for 13, no matter how big you are.
Okay.
And if they're really small, but if they can get 2, and if we could take them in, and then they can bring their issues, and then we can help them solve them, not solve them for them, but
So my question on that specifically with the grants would be, we would be then passing on applying for grants for Townsend.
I want to
In
avoid
that
that.
case, if we are basically sponsoring a grant application for Ashby.
I don't wanna do
I'm not
that.
sure how that would
I
work,
know.
but what I love and the collaboration, just the brainstorming of mutual challenges, creating shared resources. Maybe Ashby gets a grant and has a resource that's amazing. Maybe we get a grant and have a resource, and we allow, like, I hate to say like at the dump, but like at the recycling center where, it's a shared resource amongst towns, but it's managed within your town. But we have a sort of an agreement that we're going to do everything we can here, and you're going to do everything you can there, but let's let our residents benefit from all of it.
Right.
I love that idea. And I also think there could be some potential cost savings if we wanted to, say, purchase some equipment for Memorial Hall and they needed to purchase the same equipment, and we could bundle a package to get a lower rate. I think that that's another
Things
really
like
good
that, yeah.
potential.
And the thing that got me to was, the requirement on the grant application, or it's more points. They want to see active CODs in the community. But if we had an agreement so that we can check that box for them, that we are collaborating, they can do their own grant, but we have a joint COD to help manage it. We're not, make it clear to the state that we're not doing one grant. Like, I don't want to give up our opportunity.
Right.
But just to say that Ashby, we can put a handout so that we're part of your team to help you manage what it is you're trying to do with your grant, so that the state will look at them in a positive light, that they have some kind of mutual aid agreement with us to assist with COD functions without hurting each other.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of
taking
where,
away anything from either town.
Almost like a consultant board for them.
something.
Like it would be us saying, we're willing to take on whatever the administrative stuff has to be through a COD for you to give it to them, for you to accept their grant, at least, accept their application.
I feel bad for them when if that's why they didn't get the grant, because they don't have the COD, maybe we can somehow help them, and without giving them money, but they can do their own thing, but and so that's why. But if you guys, I'll keep this put this on old business for the time being, so that we can keep discussing it and
about it.
brainstorming or looking around and see what other towns are doing, and see if Ashby thinks I'm being ridiculous or if they might nibble.
I mean, I think it can do nothing but benefit both of our towns.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
If we have similar challenges and we're able to divide and conquer and give 2 communities access, we're doubling our reach that way. I think that would be amazing.
They've actually had some ADA complaints. Actually,
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't, they had to have their town meeting outside.
I think their center is in the elementary school, is in the same building, I think. And there was an ADA complaint made, and
they had their town meeting in the parking lot and outside.
That's true, yeah.
They had to have their town meeting
Because
outside. The state said it wasn't
accessibility,
accessible and that they couldn't hold their town meeting there.
So,
So they
do need help.
do need help,
So,
yes.
If there's something,
That they can learn
I mean,
from us.
Mhm.
I know we're busy. I don't know how in depth we want to get into, but if we want to keep talking about this, we can, if you guys are interested.
And circling back to that, every board member brings something so unique to this table specifically. It just gives us more information. It gives us another view. It gives us another something that, oh, I hadn't thought of. And that can never hurt either.
Right. And Ashby is unique, so that they could be very helpful in giving us a different perspective
Mhm.
because of their size. I mean, they just don't, they have some of our problems, but they're bigger because they're smaller.
Magnified.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There.
Okay, good. I don't feel so silly for putting this on.
No, I think it's
Right
right.
on.
I'm glad I kept it on. Okay. Oh, we're on the home stretch. We're really coming down here. Oh, we're not competing with select board on length of meeting.
No contest here, huh?
No.
No, I'm not, I don't want to win that one.
I
Okay.
surrender.
There you go. All right, correspondence. I was hard pressed to put things on here, but I said, oh, good, I got correspondence this time. 5.1, reminder of the State Commission on Disability meeting is on April 15th. I forgot the time, but it's on there. I think I sent you the link.
10 o'clock.
And anybody that's on the commission can attend that meeting. You just have to register. It's a Zoom link. And I'm going to be in that meeting. And so, yeah,
How long is that meeting?
I think it's like an hour and a half,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah, it's not a lengthy one. It's not mandatory, but I just
Well, I
want to make
had-
sure everybody knows about it so that if anybody has the time to.
I feel like I may be able to get on part of it, so I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna unregister for it, but depending how much I catch, I'll get on the next one in
yeah.
6 months, because they're every 6 months, you said, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think, what's the other one, October?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But it is at 10, I know, because that's where I was like, oh, shoot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to it because I think getting that connection with the
Yes.
state and other CODs will be on there. And I don't know what things they talk about, but I'm sure it'll be helpful no matter what. No matter what. Okay. 5.2, state ethics training. The town clerk has set up, the state is coming out to do the conflict of interest training, and it's going to be in our Memorial Hall. Good luck to that. But it's everything we've been saying. But that's going to be on April 21st at 10 a.m. And all town officials from any town is welcome to attend that. He's opened it up to from wherever. Anybody that wants to travel to Townsend can come and attend that. And the Ethics Commission will be here to answer questions that people might have, other than just having the conflict of interest training. And
Yeah.
that's it. You're actually going to have them on the ground answering questions. Okay. I think that's everything. With our next meeting, the 7th, and I think I said Bob Garside, our ADA coordinator, wants to be in the loop, and so he may be attending our meetings as well, which I think is great, and enthusiastic about this, so.
On the next agenda,
Yes,
could we talk about getting our fund set up and that handicap parking thing for the fees you mentioned? I don't know if that's a thing that's gonna have to go to a town meeting, like a revolving fund,
It does.
or, okay, so, okay.
I'll put it on, our next agenda,
But it may be more of a special town.
just to talk about it.
Okay,
It's something, it has to get on a town meeting. But the first thing I want to do on that is talk to the police chief and get buy-in
okay,
from him first.
okay.
And I don't want to just put something like that on town meeting and have him go, well, I don't know,
Yeah.
because he's the one writing tickets.
Okay.
And that's where that handicap parking money comes from.
That
So
makes, no, that makes
I want
sense.
to get them on board to want to participate in that, and then he's talking to the treasurer too, because they're gonna set up the accounts. And whatever, which there's some account I have to look, I think at the meeting, talking to MOD, I'm gonna find out more about, because people can donate to us,
Well, and yeah, so we
So
need
we-
to
there's a
have
special
something. We don't
account.
want to say no.
I have to figure out.
We don't
what
want to say no.
There's something we have to do
So-
with,
That was my thought.
account so that it doesn't just, money doesn't just go to the general fund.
Right.
That's the revolving. It has to be a I
Right.
think. I
Yeah.
mean,
It
that's what
might
I had.
be, one of those special purpose funds, like ambulance receipts
It's
and,
something, yeah.
and that sort of thing, so it might
But
be
is
a
that,
special
is that a
purpose.
revolving
So,
account
but
as
the
well, I think?
revolving fund process to establish it is different than a special purpose.
Yeah, I
fund.
know,
There's different,
So
I mean,
it's
there's
all-
really
yeah.
unique rules.
I know that I
So
had
we,
Yeah.
the revolving and of course, the most important thing for me there was that it stayed in,
yes,
Right.
we could decide how to
Yes.
use the money and it stayed
And
at
that's
the
what our
end of
funds
the,
are, yeah.
at the end of the fiscal year.
And I
so,
think I'll get information at the
Yeah.
the statewide meeting.
What is
That
Cause
would
I'm
be
sure
great.
I won't be the only new commission. I
right.
think there's always towns adding,
Oh,
so
yeah, I'm sure.
this stuff, it's not gonna be just old hat stuff. I'm sure that there'll be
Mhm.
a lot of information. So, yeah, it's another thing I wanted to let you guys, please email me if there's things you want to put on the agenda. If you come up with a brainstorm like I did,
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
no, I love
That's
that.
right. I love
I mean,
that too.
I don't want to be the only one that's
Well,
allowed
I
to have
had one
brainstorms.
more.
So if any of you, come up with something that you want to put on the agenda for any of our future meetings, let me know and I'll get it on there.
And I'm having these ideas, but if it's not the appropriate time and it's a down the road thing, totally fine too. My other one was just, we might want to start talking about how we let residents know we exist and what the process is for them to reach us with any concerns or challenges that they have. So, that was my other idea.
That's a good idea.
And I love the complaints and concerns idea. That
Yes,
we
I
can,
do
we
too.
can bring things up. I love
was a
that.
big thing so that we can put those on the agenda and talk about them. I mean, we're in that growing, we're having the growing, I was gonna say growing pains, but I'm not feeling any pain. I mean, I'm pretty excited about everything that we've been able to
Yeah, I am too.
get started here. I
That's
think it's
exciting.
amazing, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of communities don't operate this way.
I think we have a very connected and driven group
It's at the core of that.
where, like Natalie said, the connection to knowing and seeing things differently and just wanting to, leave it better than we found it.
Yep.
That too.
And I'm just gonna put this out here again, it's like a brainstorm too, but I kind of like to, when I'm having conversations about people with disabilities, that's how I like to phrase it. Well, I don't want to define people by their disability. So by saying a disabled person or, a disabled vet, I mean, I understand that we use that term, but if we could kind of think about, saying people with disabilities in that it doesn't define
It's not an
the
adjective.
person. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
it's something that I've just in years and years of being in this field, I feel like I have thought about things that way, and again, it's not a criticism, it's just a way of thinking that I wanted to share, that I do myself, so.
Well, it's a thing, veterans think differently than civilians, and it's a whole different, you'd be surprised.
Oh, yeah, no,
So,
I
no,
can
I,
understand
oh,
that,
yeah, it's a whole different,
It's
it's
a
a whole
continuous
different
but I know-
learning
world.
process. too.
Yeah, and.
Oh,
Language
yeah.
is very
Oh.
And
important.
I just
Oh.
use that as an
No,
example,
I
but I mean,
totally
I think
respect
of
that. No, no, no.
Natalie, who
No,
may
no.
have a disability. I don't think of you as disabled Natalie.
I
You know what I mean?
know what you
Mhm.
mean.
So,
It's like,
it's
yeah.
just, it's a way of thinking and talking, I guess,
No,
that
no, I
it's
totally
people,
get it,
people with disabilities.
Because you wouldn't know unless, we talk about it.
No, that's for
Most
sure.
people who are disabled, you don't know, you can't
No.
tell by looking at something.
That's right. a lot of
And
hidden-
all disabled people don't need a parking space.
No.
That's right.
No,
And
that's
that's,
a
and
fact.
that's what
Right.
so many people don't understand.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Right.
good point too, is that,
And-
so a lot of this is education for
Yeah,
people.
and some you might not think look like they should have a parking space, but do
That's
need
right,
it.
yeah.
Because I had a guy scream at me in Hannaford once, Gilbert Dillon.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
and that's
In the parking
happened too, and we had, of course, parking spaces and at the senior center, and it was a woman who had a heart condition,
Mhm.
and that's
Yeah.
not gonna show.
Right.
And somebody called her out for
Mhm.
issue, you know, and she had to explain it, which she didn't have
Shouldn't
to,
have to, yeah.
of course, but if you're, you know, somebody's screaming at you, you know,
Yeah.
you wanna let them know that you
Oh, I
did
did.
everything wrong. That's right.
It's
But
like I
I mean,
was-
you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
That's.
It's like I
that's
was
the
surprised
point.
when I got mine because I have a large heart and I have COPD.
Mhm.
I mean, I quit smoking, but because of all, I ended up having one with 3 holes in my heart, and I didn't know it till
Wow.
2014. 2014.
Wow.
Okay, that
That's-
was a long time ago. I had
Wow.
open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So the minute I found out, I mean, when they said COPD, that was, I quit smoking, right off the bat, but,
Good for you.
I never knew. I mean, I've got 5 kids. I've been to heck and back, you know, and the older
That's
I
scary.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
can't.
didn't
and I-
know it.
I,
all
cou- I
through all
didn't
that.
know it, and then with all these different tests, it came down to, on a Monday after all these tests, I said, either take me or have surgery. I said, I can't breathe anymore. 4 days later, I had open heart.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you never
Scary
know
stuff.
what, because like, I always, for a little quick, I always sit near the exit. I don't care where I am, I'm always near the
Yeah.
door, always. I don't care where I'm at, because, just because, boom,
Yeah.
booms went off a lot. Policemen have come by the house because they didn't want to scare my goats, because they had hit a deer, someone had hit a deer. Well, they forgot I had COPD, they forgot I had PTSD, but it was okay. It was midnight, I don't even know why I was still up. But
Hmm.
you never know.
Yeah.
And that's why, I mean, that's one of the reasons I was in there for. Anyways, but no, we
Okay, so, when you
adjust.
guys have your brainstorms in
Mhm.
between the meetings, you know, send me an email. You can send me an email at 3 AM. It's okay. I won't wake
I
up.
won't wake you up.
I don't have a
Won't wake you up.
notification thing that goes off and
Yeah,
somebody
That's
sent
good,
you
yeah, that's a good
unnecessary
thing.
email at 3 AM. It's okay. When I wake up, and, you know, I'm older, so I do wake up at 3 for certain things.
Yeah.
And I do check my phone.
I hear you
so-
on that one.
You never know when I might reply. But, but yeah, send me, you know, if there's something you think you want to put on the agenda, I will get it on there and we'll chat about your brainstorm. And, yeah, I mean, I want this, I mean, my vision of this is just to be as proactive as we can be
Oh,
and
100%.
address everything to make Townsend completely as accessible as it possibly can be for everybody.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because I mean, I think it's important that we know that making things accessible for the disabled makes it more accessible
Mhm.
for everybody. And
Exactly.
everybody benefits when we address these things. And
I think it's also important to know that although we're focusing on meeting the need, we're doing that so that they can
Yes.
then have a meaningful contribution to the community, into the
Right.
town meeting, and to, so
to participate.
we're focusing on meeting the need so that we can get the benefit they have to offer us too.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, it's
You know,
gonna be
so-
the norm, it's gonna be the norm, you know?
We're ahead of it. We are
Yes.
ahead. I think
Yeah.
we're ahead of the curve right now. At
Yeah.
Oh,
getting
yeah.
these things going.
And if anybody's determined, it's us.
That's true. It's true.
Oh,
I mean,
yes.
you know,
That's-
I know
Yeah.
a couple of you that I knew before this got going, and I know that we are,
Tenacious.
I think we are.
Oh, don't mess with
We're
us, that's
actually, there's at least 3 of us here that are community activists.
Mhm.
We can already have that label, so we're the right people to have on this commission, and then the other 2, I'm sure you both are in your own way. As I get to know you, we'll see. So-
I think it's wonderful.
Yes, I'm really excited about this
I am
commission
too.
and who we have on it, so.
I
This is great.
Definitely.
Okay, so,
And it's just gotten better.
yes, we got 5, and hopefully we can get more as, we get that posting redone and see how big this room can get. All right, so our next meeting is May 7th at 6, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Kelly Burke second.
All those in favor?
Don Priest, yes.
Kelly Burke, yes.
Casimir, yes.
And Cindy King, yes.
Well,
Okay,
Here's my
we are
card.
adjourned.